Well,
Now
then
it's,
I open it up.
when it doesn't have power to the camera,
on it.
then
Yeah.
it's going to default to
But
this.
yeah, HVAC, but
We're good to
I
go.
mean,
We're good to go.
I'm telling you, within 30 minutes to an hour.
All right, I think we're gonna get started with the informational part of it to the general public. I appreciate you all waiting for us. We don't have a quorum yet, so we can't make any decision. But we thought there's some things to talk about we could at least bring up and discuss. We've got, one of our board members is sick and two of them are still tied up at work. We're hoping one of those will show up shortly. I don't know who's calling you, Travis.
It's Kurt and Chris. Hey, guys. They're watching.
So, there's no use doing a roll call yet, is there?
No, I don't.
So I've got a little report. We've had an interesting and busy month here at the airport, administratively anyway, that I'll kind of touch on. I don't want to steal all of Travis's thunder, but I'll start by saying the State Board of Accounts exit interview was held where Becky and I and Travis and Steve attended. I've attended a number of those in my previous board appointments. It went reasonably well. They did cite us on one issue that hopefully we can address this evening. We were paying credit cards before they were due, so we didn't pay past due credit or charges on the credit card. We didn't authorize our treasurer to pay those bills ahead of time. So they cited us for that. Not a big deal. We've got an ordinance, hopefully we'll get approved here that adds credit cards at what we can pay. We're already paying utilities as an example and other bills that would be delinquent if they don't get paid before the meeting. So rather than wait for the board to sign off, there's several bills that have to be paid. There was one, and I was hoping Steve could explain this, but there was one accounting oversight that had to do with the terminal. We had put money in the wrong account or posted on the gateway, the state's website, on the wrong page or wrong line. I'm struggling here to explain it because I don't know what we did wrong, but that was it wasn't a citation. We didn't say we violated any rules or anything, but they want us to change it, make sure that was clarified. A couple things that did come up in the discussion, and the same thing, there was no citations issued, but they talked about, and we've talked about this internally here, our conflict of interest statements and our confidentiality statements. They were pretty clear in that they prefer that since we are a government entity, we're representing the public, that we do have those signed on an annual basis. So we're going to, Phil has been, and Becky's been working on this for a couple months. The plan is to make sure we get a clear copy to all the board members before the next meeting and review those. And if they have any questions at that point, and I'm hopefully get it, well, we may not have to get approval. One of the documents is a state form that we have to sign. And Phil can address that here shortly. And then the last thing that they came up with is, as you know, we sell drinks and things here on an honor basis. Are you all right over there? And that money has been going into cash. It's been sitting here. When I got this in this chair, that made me uncomfortable. And so we talked about it. And what they recommended is we could set up a separate checking account. We don't have to do anything special. Just put up a checking account that we call a donation fund. And then we can use that to replace the soft drink and the snacks and whatever we need to do with it. So I don't know if Steve set that up yet or not, but the plan is to go ahead and set up a separate account just for that money. So rather than having cash laying around here, and it was locked in a desk drawer and all that, it wasn't laying around, but it still made me nervous that there was cash here in the building. Steve's replacement. We thought we had someone. Monica Young, who used to be the treasurer for Greater Jasper School Corporation, agreed to take the position. She came and met with Steve, and after she met, she agreed. She wanted some time because she had just retired from the school corporation. So we said, well, that's fine. Steve was willing to stay on a little longer. She comes Monday last week and spends the day with Steve. Steve run her off. I know exactly what happened. I'm playing golf on Tuesday, and I get a call on the second tee. Ken, I'm not gonna take that job. So we're still looking for that person, and we have actually posted it a couple of social sites, and we've gotten in excess of 20 applications in just 2 days' time. So there's some interest there. I guess if anybody's interested in being involved in meeting these people, reviewing applications, throw the hand up, and we're willing to get help there. But we've got two or three people right now that bubble up pretty high. We're hoping to get some more applicants over the next week here. Travis and I are going to be gone for a period of time, so it may be a few weeks till we get that person hired. Let's see here.
In the meantime, is Steve gonna stay on to issue
He
checks?
told us he'll stay till the end of August, I think. Is that what he told you?
August, he said it.
Yeah, he said from August. I don't know if that's August 1st or 30th, so we're gonna have to twist his arm to hope it's the 30th. Because we won't be back till the 1st of August. But hopefully right after that, we'll have that. Becky and I talked to two people tonight that both we feel qualified. So we're hoping that we'll see what else we get, but maybe we're hoping to be able to hire somebody very quickly once the three of us are back together. And again, anybody else is welcome to sit in, and the other board members to help make the right decision. We met with OFS last week, or last month. A couple of, I know it was, you had it on your agenda too, and I apologize for taking that. But just kind of a highlight. They have a lease that is a triple net, and yet at the same time, they're asking us to pay for some repairs, which we're not ready to make any final decision because they're getting estimates on the costs to make the repairs. They're looking at potentially moving and building a new building on site, upgrading. At least that's what they told us. So they're not sure they want to go a long-term lease, and they're not sure how much money they want to spend on it. It sounds like a reoccurring statement we heard last month. But they haven't got their estimates yet. My first reaction is, you have trouble on that lease. You maintain the building, and if you give it back to us, it's in good condition. Otherwise, you pay for it. I know there's people from Hummers here. I really still believe that I'd like to not do a shotgun effect. I'd like to get OFS done before we go to the next one, do them one at a time, rather than try to be working on 2 and 3 leases at the same time. One voice, so if the rest of the board disagrees with that can be discussed here later. There's a cell tower issue. And Rick, you may be more familiar with this than anybody. OFS brought it to send a letter to the county commissioners and asked the county to get involved with trying to block a new cell tower that's being planned for the Ferdinand area. The OFS concern was it would affect their instrumentation landing, and Chad Blessinger put together a letter signed by all the commissioners. The FAA and the Indiana Department of Transportation both responded. We looked into the issue and we don't think it's a problem. So I'm not really sure what our next step, if anything, should be. The county work with us. There is no zoning in Dubois County, so that limits what can be done. The FAA is approved in the sense, not gonna affect the airport. We can't, there's some limitations there, but again, that's something hopefully we could discuss. And Rick, you're the only pilot, but do you have any input on that?
I don't know where it's proposed.
Yeah, I was going to ask, doesn't that raise minimums, coming into 2-7? Where they're gonna put the tower? I heard it's gonna raise the minimum coming in,
Well, then that
100 feet.
Well, then that would affect
That would
the
affect.
FAA. The FAA would have an issue with it.
FAA said they looked at it and they passed it without any issues.
Jump into the weeds real quick, it's gonna impact the circling minimums for runway 27 by 100 foot. And if you're, according to the document that was provided to us, if your NDOT's letter said category C aircraft. So that's not gonna impact A's and B's, which is just, typically what we see in flying in and out of here, but it's still gonna raise the circling minimum from like 1040 to 1140, as I recollect, I'm going off memory here. So,
Okay, but not the approach.
but not the direct in approach, right?
Okay, where are they putting the tower?
On 1100 southeast of here, about 3 nautical miles.
But the airport still has NDB property, or that'd be a good spot for an antenna, wouldn't it? And that's far enough away, but
Yeah, so I appreciate the county getting involved. They, Chad Blessner was very receptive, and he wrote a letter within the day, and they had all the commissioners sign it. Forwarded to the FAA and the Department of Transportation. We got a fairly quick response back from both those agencies.
something like that.
No, we've checked it out, it's okay. So,
Hey, Charles.
Yeah, Chris?
Hey, happy to take a look at it if you want. I'm a little familiar with some of these. And the airport does have some options, but they're probably somewhat limited. You can make requests for an additional evaluation, request to be put up for circularization, which is just a deeper study, and an opportunity for public comment. But you have to hit a certain threshold trigger for the number of flights that are impacted before they will actually consider it. It's a pretty high threshold, just to let you know. But if you want, we can take a look at it and we can give you some advice and see if you have some options with it, or see if we would concur with in-house evaluation.
We greatly appreciate that, Chris.
yeah,
And as I recollect, there's a new state law that went into effect July 1, Phil can jump in, you might be able to correct me, where the airport authority should have some teeth and some clawback in some things like this, some issues regarding things like this.
Yeah, it would give you good justification if you really don't have good zoning with your neighbors, that it would require them essentially to begin the process before, I think it's the end of next year, to establish zoning rules and regulations to protect the airport and all your approaches, including circling.
Well, the concern that I had, and I tried to bring this up to both the county and other folks that was looking for input, was it's not where our approaches are today, Chris, at 5501,
Yeah.
where we will be at when we go to our next logical step, which is probably 7,000. If you look at what happened at, DeKalb County and other airports, that, what's gonna be the negative impact to our approaches then? And I never got a clear cut
Well,
answer.
we can actually give you a little specifically to give you a little bit more clarity. The FAA has rules that says if it's on an approved ALP, they will consider it. But if it's not on the ALP, they're not obligated to consider their evaluation.
That's a super important distinction.
It is absolutely super. That's why the FAA nowadays is saying, oh, just do this little ultimate drawing sheet, and that satisfies, maybe what it looks like, but that will not protect it. We've been fighting for airports to get their full value and make sure that they get what they want on the ALP, including extensions, because it's become a bigger fight now.
When was ours updated?
What was our ALP update, 2014?
Yeah, it was a few years ago, that I do recall. I think it was at the time, early on when we were going through some of the runway airspace evaluations, for the runway configurations, excuse me. And, we did it for the runway extension, that you have currently, but I don't think it went past that.
Probably didn't have 7,000 on there.
It doesn't have 7,000 on there, it's bricks on it.
No, I don't believe it does.
I think that'd be well worth our while. Because, yeah, we don't want to limit our ability to grow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the last thing I got on, for my notes is, talk about a security system. Two things happened. We got hit by lightning. Pretty well knocked everything out of the building here. We lost our computer power. So that kind of put everything backwards. And then Travis convinced me that, based on that lightning, we probably should, prepare a more detailed RFP and, for competitive bids. We sent that out to 4 people a week ago, Friday. Have we got any of those back, you know?
I got responses back today, I got responses back last week as well. Yes, from 3 different companies.
So we haven't reviewed those, and so nothing's happened in those yet. But what we found out is we needed to retrofit the security system some fashion because of what the lightning did onto what we had, so. That was all my notes.
Oh, you're saying that's why you put Astro response, because it affected what we already had. And we're gonna have to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, there's changes, yeah. So just real quick, I was kind of pick up where Ken's at, I'll be done in 45 seconds. Yeah, on June 27th, 28th. Chris, had you heard this before, that we got struck by lightning?
I did not, no.
Yeah.
So,
So anyways, we did take a lightning strike. It appears that it hit this pole over here, and you can kind of see the damage from the pole coming back into the terminal building. Loading caps out of the ground. We're, I need to lift up the lighting pole now. The contractor he doesn't trust the anchor bolts being secure and what they're supposed to be. Pulling all the cable wiring out of the conduit because there's, chance that the temperature melted it and blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of work that's in the process that's got to get done, to the point of our south door right now. We have no actuators working on that south door. The button on the north side door, the punch controls are not working. So we're working through getting the contractors in to get all that fixed and put back together and operational, everything else. To Ken's point, that sets us back on the security. So there's no point to have a security system if you have wide open doors because actuators broke, right? So that's part of it. But also,
We even melted the paint off of the fence out here. If you look at it, you see where some of the plastic, I guess it's plastic, coating on the wire and the pole, it actually melted some of that.
and it fed all the way back inside the building. If you go to our IT room, Doug Fisher, the owner of Astra Security, said he's never seen lightning strike this bad, where it actually blew their controls, control access panel, and then blew the battery, blew everything out, and just exploded inside the IT room. Then we had, we had on the breaker panel in the electrical room, we had blown out breakers and everything, it was just absolutely a hot mess.
So I assume you filed an insurance claim.
So his time frame though is 4 to 5 months to even get to us or to get it fixed.
To get to us on the security issue. He was out here the next day.
Okay.
For the access control.
For the
Actuators. Yeah,
and-
well, no, he doesn't do actuators, he only does access control. So the actuators is another contractor that I found out, 3 days later, so that contractor was in contact to get the actuators done. But what Doug does is just access control, so that's the 1228 pound.
Yeah, that tells the actuator to open the door,
Yes.
the handicap, and all,
Yes.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve for me that, gas or electrical contractor for the terminal building is not the person that installed the actuator. It was actually this other third party person. So it's a little bit of a learning curve to go through and all that stuff. But at any rate, to Ken's point, we did take strikes. We're replacing Steve's computer is going to be replaced. We got routers, we got switch controllers. cabling, I mentioned the cabling, our Wi-Fi, we still got wireless access points that are not operational. I think this one's not operational. If you just look at it, you can almost tell it's not got a blue light on, it's not working. So Monty's in the process of in here, replacing things and fixing things. And a lot of people jumped up right away. I really do appreciate Astra Security. Doug Fisher was awesome. He's joining on the spot, showed back up the next day, was here. Gas or Electric was here, just trying to get us a building that was operational, because you cannot get into the building or out, where you get out of the building, get into the building, because everything's locked,
And when you're talking 4 to 5 months out for him, that's the rest of what
Yeah.
we're wanting with regard to cameras and what.
Yeah, it should,
Yes.
yes. It's just him.
Yeah.
He just made that comment. He
I
just,
mean, my 2 cents would be, I would agree with you to an extent, but I'm not sure that one matters to the other of not having cameras versus having cameras if we don't know when the other security would be available. At least you would have, you'd have some eyes on.
oh, that's yours.
If you
At
got
least-
3 of the 4 bids, you can take a look at those.
At least you would have eyes on if there's somebody that could get to us before 4 to 5 months.
Sure. Yeah, I wasn't gonna kick it out that far. I was just wanting to get the comments from what we did change, so the big thing that I wanted to do was lighting protection through the camera system.
Yeah.
That if we took a strike on another pole, the camera's mounted out there, it's not gonna do this thing all over again, right?
Yep.
So I wanted to put safeguards in place, and that's why I pushed it out. I pushed it out to Doug Fisher particularly and said, hey, in light of our current lighting, do you have any suggestions of changes or tweaks? One contractor, Sitewise from Huntingburg here, Paul Nyko, they said, go into a certain kind of category of cabling and this other, somebody else said something else. And so it was really good to just put the feelers out there. Does this look like it's kind of, in the ballpark or not of what we need to do or not,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I got the last kind of comment I got was today. And so now we're kind of finalized, we can put it out on the street. And then to your point, Rick, might be better sooner than later than having something to have some eyeballs around here.
Yeah, I qualified with all of your ifs about protecting it,
Yeah.
Well, that's why I want to go through this,
Yeah.
get the comments and stuff.
I've never seen anything like this. There's a locked box. It blew through the lock and the hinges. The door was all blown away. It had some power go through this building. In my opinion, we're probably lucky we didn't get a fire.
So you didn't have
That was
any,
a hot strike.
you didn't have any damage to any of the other electrical components, outlets or anything else?
Not that we found yet.
Not yet, that we found.
so far, but if there's wires melted in there,
Well, there's, things in here, things still beeping on us and stuff, we're still, that just started this week,
Yeah.
I mean, there's things you just don't discover
Yeah.
the first week or 2 weeks. You're
how
like,
far can that go?
It
Brandon?
probably isn't as bad as it seems.
Huh?
It probably isn't as bad as it seems.
Probably stopped at the box,
Yeah, I mean,
you think?
melting wires and stuff probably didn't happen.
Okay.
Like you said, if you know it's struck out there and you know that's the path in, that's the wire to replace. It didn't make its way out to an outlet over here that didn't have anything plugged into it.
Yeah.
It had no reason.
But it probably stopped at the box at very least, I mean,
it was black.
yeah.
All right, just moving on quick here. So yeah, initiated the insurance claim, security system, we talked about that. Curtis did provide some additional comments. I got it in front of you. Thank you, Curtis. Curtis, make sure you tell Curtis we said thanks. Safer Council, we talked about that. And we talked about the OFS thing. So the only thing I don't think there was anything else I wanted to talk about. I think that's it. Questions that I had. Just so you know, everybody that's watching online, so 2 board members text us 45 minutes before the board meeting starts and said they're unable to join us tonight. 3rd board member said he had an emergency room, he's a doctor, had an emergency room thing he had to contend with, he'd be getting here late. So, we're still in the informative mode, no decision-making mode until he shows up to form a quorum. So I don't know if it makes sense to get into any other discussions or going down deep, anything else. Questions anybody might have for me?
We might talk about the apron for YFAS. That was one thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
We, I mentioned earlier, OFS has a triple net lease, but our understanding is, the way they explained it to us, there's an apron near their fuel farm that, another tenant brings the fuel delivery truck in, drives onto their apron, and it's cracking that concrete. So is that our responsibility? Because we got another tenant using that concrete. They feel that that's what's damaging that concrete. So that's one of the things that in the comments from Wilbert is that, is there any funding available to help us if we would replace that apron, since it's a multi-use apron? HNI brings their fuel truck in, I think.
Yeah,
Parks on this apron, and it's a full load of fuel, and it's not designed for that much weight, and it's starting to crack, and they're worried it's gonna affect their plane as they pull in out of their hangar. So,
That hangar was originally Kimball's. That's why their tank is there, and that's why the truck has to load there. Or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the concrete is 48 years old.
Yeah.
So that's one of the comments we got from Chris that was given us to us tonight at the meeting. That's what that's referring to. We haven't heard from Brian, have we, since,
Just sent him a text.
okay.
He's just texted me and said, can I call in? Phil?
Well, he has to be on Zoom. We have to be able to see him. He has to be able to see us. We have to be able to hear him. He has to be able to hear us. You have to be, whatever, what's your platform? Is it Zoom or
It's
YouTube?
Google, YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be on that where we could see and hear him and he could see and hear us.
Let me try to see if I can grab a link to that. Give me just a second here, guys.
Said he'd be here in 15. If that helps.
Again, I apologize, I mean, the public, bear with us, this is a unique situation. One of them got sick, this afternoon, strep throat, I understand. One board member, we didn't think we wanted him here to share that with us. Then the other one is, works at a local factory, and they were dealing with a West Coast customer, and that customer wanted to have a sales meeting at 6 o'clock our time, so he couldn't get away from that sales call. And then third one is a physician that's got tied up in emergency surgery, so it's a very unusual situation, but we're kind of hand-tied right now.
Ken, Travis, do you know who the field auditor was that recommended that you sign off on a conflict of interest policy? The reason I ask is that there's all types of conflict of interest policy forms.
Right.
The one I think they're referring to, and I don't know, this is why I like to talk to them, is there's one type of conflict of interest that only applies to elected officials, and it's actually two-pronged. It's you have to adopt a policy that provides every year that elected officials will sign a certification that the entity is not contracting with a family member or closely related or dependent. And number two, that it's the unit doesn't employ a family member or a dependent. That's only for elected officials, but it sounds like they are asking you to do that as well. But I get that clarified.
It was, her first name was Jamie, Phil, I can't recall her
Okay.
last name, but I got her contact information, I can give it to you, I can forward you the email from her.
Yeah.
So then you have her contact
But
information.
then the other conflict of interest issue that I think I tried to elaborate on in an email is that it's a class 6 felony or level 6 felony for a public servant to have a conflict of interest in a contract or a purchase with the entity that he or she serves. But there's an exception if you know you're going to have a potential conflict of interest in a contract or a purchase, and you disclose that on a form that the state provides, and you get the permission of the appointing authority who appointed you, and that's presented to the board before the contract or purchase is awarded, then, and you don't participate in the vote, then that's not considered a conflict of interest that would violate that criminal statute. So there's a number of conflict of interest issues here that I'm not sure which the state board of account wants. You don't sign off on that unless you have a conflict of interest, that latter one that I just explained.
Now, I was elected official in my last position, but I had to sign every
Every year, that the unit doesn't contract with you or an entity that you're involved in or your dependent children, and that the unit doesn't employ.
I was employed at a bank, and
Yeah.
that bank did business with the school corporation. I actually was asked to leave the meetings when there was any discussion about banking during those meetings. So yeah, that's how I was familiar with it.
But those are just for elected officials. I'm kind of surprised that this auditor, field auditor wanted appointed officials to sign those
She
kinds of.
says on the forms were on their website or something.
Well, that's the difference. The only forms that are on the website, I think, are the ones that I gave to you. That's when you actually have a conflict of interest, and before the vote is taken, you disclose it to the other board members and get the approval of the appointing authority.
We just want to make sure we got it right.
Yeah.
So as they said, as long as you get it all cleaned up before we come back the next time, there's no issues. So
Okay.
we got some time. It took them 3 years to get here this time.
Well, I'll get together with Travis and get this contact information and make sure we're doing what they want us to do.
Okay, yeah, well, Travis told me we could go ahead and do your report to Curtis. Is that what
Chris is on tonight.
Chris?
Chris, do you have a report for us tonight?
Just a very brief one. Just make sure everyone's aware, the FAA has changed their program managers around a little bit. And so, I'm just trying to pull up my notes here. I believe Huntingburg did get a new FAA program manager assignment with Riley Cornelio. So, Travis, I don't know if you've met Riley before, got a chance to work with her, or is she your current program one? I thought Joe was your FAA program manager, is that correct?
Yeah, she was I met her, I guess a year ago. Yep.
Okay, good. She's been with the FAA for just a couple of years now. She's learned a lot working with some different airports, but Joe Lyman has moved on into the region, to go back to airspace, handling airspace matters. So for example, your current tower might actually get reviewed by Joe, moving forward. So he certainly would have familiarity with the airport. I think you reported on it, but I know that our architectural team is working with the contractor on getting the test section put in for the columns. And we were just probably waiting for them to get the order shipped. And I think they expect to test that up in about 2 weeks is what we guess, once they get it shipped. So, any questions?
That's the shortest engineer report we've had for a long time,
And
Chris.
it came from Chris
And
Snyder.
particularly from you.
Yeah, especially from Chris Snyder. Holy cow.
I turned cute civil number, so, I can build longer, I really can if you want.
Well, I know you can.
That's all I have.
There's nothing else you don't need to talk about, is there?
I don't know. It is, somebody just pulled up in our late model red pickup. That's not Brian, is it?
No, that's Andy Jester.
Okay.
Brian's got a Tesla. I don't think he's tried out the Charger yet either.
Lives too close.
Yep.
I guess I could probably open the floor for discussion from the visitors. Anything you all want to bring up?
No.
Have you guys thought about anything about our part with the discussion?
We talked about it, like I said earlier in the, I don't know if you were here when we brought it up. I would personally like to get the OFS deal done so that we're not working on two leases at the same time.
I guess, here's where we're coming from. There's all kinds of chatter as always, depending on, or if you guys are gonna take it, just for some points to think about. If you're gonna take over, or we're gonna be investing money, there's some things that there's several people would like to do, but if you're gonna take it over, then it raises our rent, I guess we would like to know as soon as we could, and how long will OFS take?
Well, OFS told us they would have it by the end of the month.
End of this month?
That's
That's what I
what
said in
my
July.
understanding is.
July?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Before the end of July,
So then we
but
would
the
be on
first
the
of
August
August, we should
agenda?
have that wrapped up.
Would we be on the August agenda then?
Yeah, I mean, we want to get them all done, as quick as possible.
Well, and I think, I'm just talking out loud here, not everybody's here either, because they're not around or out in town, but a lot of them are on a pretty tight budget, and it affects how it's going to happen, if they're gonna be here, they're not gonna be here, if some money might be invested into the building, if it's gonna remain the way it is now. Just
We know about tight budgets.
hard to make decisions, and actually, I think the paperwork said November, that's pretty far out. I think we could all do way better than that.
I don't
When
think
does
we
your
wanna
lease
make
up? At the end of the year, is it?
Yeah, December 31st.
Yeah, so, and we want to have it done long before December 31st.
Well,
But again,
I understand.
let's
I'm
get
just-
one deal done before we go start on work on yours. All of that's on the table, Ken.
Okay,
I don't know what the full board might want to do. We want to
in
try
the
and take it
world
back.
that I live in, phone calls are cheap, so I'd rather be saying something now, so we keep it, accurate.
Nothing's happened in the last month.
Okay.
We met with OFS.
And we did suspect that, but at the same time, it would be nice if we would know a little bit more about where we are, which direction you're gonna go, which direction we're gonna go. Because there are some people that maybe would like to invest a little bit more money in their specific spot. So that's why we're at.
That's very valid.
Just to be real frank, and of course, no decision is made, no decision can be made, but just discussing it just privately with individual board members, I think there's a real struggle with having negotiated some of the recent leases at 38 cents a square foot per month, 39 cents per square foot, and then the T hangers equivalent, the new T hangers equivalent to 22 cents a square foot per month. And you're proposing 14 cents a square foot. It's just a real struggle to be able to rationalize that. I understand you pay for utilities, but so do the other tenants. And quite frankly, their hangers are older than yours. So I mean, I think that there's a struggle there, and they're trying to understand and find a way to work with you, but still be fair with the other tenants. And I think that's the sense that I get from my discussions with board members. I
It's a
mean,
pretty good summary. There's a lot of things going around
Sure.
our minds, what's the right way to be fair to you all and.
And we understand also-
Everybody else.
understand also that if the airport took it over and operated it, that there'd be a stream of revenue would be as much as what you've got now, or what we'd get from you, what you're proposing. It may not be. I don't know what the stream of revenue would be under our current T hanger leases. But part of that hanger is more than a T hanger, isn't it? It's a box hanger that would, I don't know.
Again, we haven't sat on it, but we haven't made any decisions yet either, for that reason, all those reasons.
We just don't want you to forget our pretty faces.
We can't do that.
Okay.
Once Brian gets here, it shouldn't take long.
Approve the minutes, approve the claims.
Is that all there is?
Claims and minutes and,
But I don't know if you want to consider this ordinance to,
can't make a decision on it.
no, I mean, when he comes here. Frank gets, they would
Come back
authorize
to,
you.
yeah, why don't you want to explain it?
Yeah, there, I again circulated a draft ordinance.
Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. We just start the meeting, we'll call it over.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do the roll call, so we can actually form and make a decision now. Welcome. Beckman is here. Blessinger's here.
Here.
Cummings is not. Mann's here.
Here.
Maxey is not. And Schnaus is here. I know Dr. Blessinger, you haven't had much time to review the claims and stuff.
Minutes, of course, I guess.
Minutes.
Okay, or the minutes, yeah, I'm sorry, the minutes.
Those are emailed. Yeah, I saw those.
They were emailed to us ahead of time. Everybody is prepared to make a motion to approve the minutes, so.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay.
B. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we are down to claims, right?
Unless you want to consider this
Oh,
ordinance.
yeah, let's do this. Brian, just to fill you in, we, State Board of Accounts, had an excellent interview, and one of the things that came up is they cited us on a violation.
The credit card thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay.
So there's an Indiana statute that
Which
allows.
makes sense.
Yeah, there's an Indiana statute that allows units of government to prepay basic bills prior to the claim being approved. But it's a list of things, and I've listed them there, that they're A through L. But it also says, in any other claim that's approved by ordinance. And so I've added there the lawful expenses appearing on a bank-issued credit card and where timely payment is necessary in order to avoid finance charges. So that would satisfy them, I believe. But they're actually requiring an ordinance. And so that's why I prepared an ordinance that would authorize you to make payment of any of these in advance of a claim being approved by the board if it's necessary in order to avoid finance charges. Now, it's still subject to a claim being filed and approved by the board, and the board could disapprove a claim, in which case whoever incurred it would be personally responsible for it. So you still have to be careful when you start charging things, just because it can be paid before approved by the board doesn't necessarily mean you've got carte blanche to do whatever you want.
We get a full claim report every
Yeah.
month for the meeting. And, there's something on there in that credit card report bill that we have an issue with. That's what he's referring to. So
I'm sorry, I don't know what ordinance number that would be for the year. Steve's not here, and he usually keeps
I
track.
think it's ordinance number 2026-1.
I don't know. Did we not, have we
I think
had?
he penciled it in.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Somebody penciled it in here. So I don't think we've had any ordinances this year yet. And we all received this digitally as well. We'll need to have a motion to approve it as well. Somebody's willing to do that.
Sure. So moved.
Second.
Okay, then,
Stu wants to do a roll call, because it's got it on there.
okay, I was gonna say, you got names listed, so, I'll do a roll call and then it's either yes or no. Mary Beckman,
Yes.
Brian Blessinger,
Yes.
Mike Cummings is out, Rick Mann,
Yes.
Jay Maxey's out, Ken Schnaus is a yes. And then, are you the assistant secretary?
Mhm.
So he could sign as well, couldn't he?
Let me give you the ordinance.
I just want to recognize Steve. He did a heck of a job with the last few years. That ought to cover 4 years. And very
All the
minor
Ts were
things that came up.
Crossed and I's were dotted.
That's good to have two of them.
When you hear people talk about, well, there must be misappropriation of funds over there. I'm going, no, not at all.
Like I said early on, I've been sat through a number of exit interviews over the years, but just 2 copies.
Did you send this one? Yep, I'll give this.
And this was a very good, good audit. We had no issues. The 2 minor issues we had were very minor.
It was tremendous. Did a great job.
They were very complimentary. Steve.
For just that. Well, I'm actually.
We go assistant secretary. I'll put assistant behind, in
Okay.
front of your name after somewhere.
Going up to do some commercial maneuvers after this. Are you with Jester? Okay.
I'm not sure where we're at. Any other business? Is that probably where we're at on the list?
Going on to the next rating.
You approved the things, sure.
It's something that's
Not the claims.
done, but.
Yeah, we need to approve the claims register, so they were passed around, everybody's had a chance to review them.
Yeah.
Need a motion to approve those.
I'll motion to approve those.
Second?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Now I think we're down to other business. Anything else we haven't already killed? We're down to adjournment. Told everybody when you got here.
Hey, that's fine, that's good.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you
Well,
all.
thanks for getting over here.
Yeah, no.
So you're starting your commercial now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
And to the
know.
public, thank you for bearing with us.
Start it and see. I don't know, seriously, it's not exactly easy, it's planning to do that.